For the first lesson of the Odyssey board, we're going to be building a basic circuit. We'll start with our Odyssey board base. You'll also need your Key Studio Uno, a couple of dowel rods, an LED, two female-to-female jumper wires, your USB cord, the socket block, and a 220 ohm resistor. There are a few important things to remember when making a complete circuit. First of all, you must have a voltage source. In this lesson, we'll be using the Key Studio Uno as our voltage source. Every red pin on the board delivers 5 volts. Also, you have a 5-volt socket on this side of the board, and also a 3.3 volt socket. Next, you need something that is called the load. In a circuit, you must have something that's using the electricity. In this case, we'll be using an LED. LED stands for light emitting diode. That means the electricity only flows in one direction. In this case, always make sure that the long leg of the LED is connected to your positive terminal, and the short leg of your LED is connected to ground. Also, we'll be using a resistor. Resistors are measured in ohms. What they do is they take the voltage down a bit. Since 5 volts is too much for our LED, we need to use this resistor in line to bring the voltage down so that it doesn't burn out. And finally, the most important thing you need to remember about making a circuit is that it must be a complete pathway from voltage to ground. For this circuit, we're going to take our voltage from the Key Studio Uno board through a jumper wire to an LED, back through a jumper wire, through our resistor, and back into ground, which will make it a complete circuit. To construct this circuit, we'll start by taking the Key Studio Uno and inserting a dowel rod. You have many options on the sides and back to mount your board. For this lesson, I'm going to mount it in the bottom and orient it vertically, like this. I'm then going to take my socket block, and I'm also going to mount it with a dowel rod. Again, you can use the sides or faces. I'll use the side of the block and mount it like this. Next, I'm going to take my jumper wires, put them together, and I'm going to push them through one of the slots meant for 2 of the jumper wires, like this. This gives me a place to put my LED. In this circuit, I'm going to be using red for positive, so I'm going to make sure that my long leg of the LED goes in the red wire, and the short leg goes in the blue wire. It helps to hold the jumper wires from the back so that they don't move too much. Now, I'm going to select any one of the red pins on my Key Studio Uno. Since they all deliver 5 volts, I can plug it in, and that will give me a power source. Next, I'm going to take my 220 ohm resistor, and I'm going to connect it to my blue jumper wire, which will be my ground, and I'll take that back to ground on the Key Studio Uno by plugging it into ground, the socket labeled ground here. Finally, to make sure that our circuit is complete and successful, we're going to plug it in using our USB cord and a voltage source. In this case, I'll be using a laptop computer. And if you've done it correctly, when you plug it into your USB port, your LED should come on, showing us that the circuit is complete and that it has the voltage source coming from the Key Studio Uno. It has a load. In this case, it's an LED or light emitting diode, and it's oriented correctly so that the long leg goes to your positive terminal. And finally, it's a complete conductive path that starts from the voltage, through your load and returns to ground through our resistor, which brings the voltage down so that it doesn't overload our LED. Good job.